Okay, it says I am live. So welcome everybody. This is Andrew, Top Fitness Strategies. Hope everybody's doing okay. We are trying to piece everything together on my end. Real quick, I had some internet issues, so if something happens, it's all on me. I think I got it straightened out. But welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. And before we get started, just to let you know, if you need to use the facilities, it's down the hall. There you go. All right, you're at your house, do your stuff there. And if you need to, or if you would like to add any comments, questions, anything as we go along here, feel free to put them in the chat box and we can go from there. All right. So Top Fitness Strategies presents Heike Yates this evening. Heike is the founder of Pursue Your Spark podcast, and we'll get into that more or less in a little bit. But one of the things we're going to cover, several things we're going to cover this evening is diet, nutrition, and Pilates. And let me tell you a little bit about my guest, Heike, this evening. Over 30 years in the fitness and wellness business, Heike has developed a reputation for creating real-life solutions and lasting results. A certified American Council of Exercise personal trainer, that's ACE, a precision nutrition exercise nutrition coach, a nationally certified Pilates teacher, and a Road Runners of American running coach. She's also tested strength and fitness protocols by becoming a bodybuilder, an ultra marathon runner, aiding in her own recovering from an injury to finish an Ironman triathlon, and now successfully dealing with the side effects of aging. And compared to her, my life looks boring. So anyway, let me bring on my guest this evening. Here she is. Welcome, Heike.
Hi, Andrew. You made me sound really good. Thank you.
It's impressive. I was reading this on your website, and it's very impressive. I said, I gotta say all this, and hopefully I didn't stumble through anything, and hopefully I didn't mess anything up. But and I know when I was talking with you when we did this a few weeks ago, one of the things that really stood out to me was your ultra marathon running. I said, oh my gosh, I got to make sure I say something about that, because that is something. But so. Let's start this off like I always start off everything. I found Heike going through some YouTube videos, doing my stuff for my research on my end, looking for interesting folks. And she was by far well above interesting in my book. And so I contacted her, and she was gracious enough to contact me back. And I know she's in high demand, especially with her YouTube and her podcast. And so through trial, and I don't want to say trial and error, because it wasn't any error. It was just stuff on my end. And we finally got dates together, and here she is. So I'm going to quit talking and let you introduce yourself and say hello to everybody. So take it away, Heike.
Well, hi, guys. Thanks for being here with us. I'm so excited to hang out with Andrew and you all, because I just got back from the South, as you can tell. I went on vacation to North Carolina, and there's a lot of y'all going on down there. So I guess it's stuck, because normally I don't have a y'all. But here I am. I have been a fitness nutrition coach for 32 years by now. And I never look back. You know, when I started, I had no interest in ever doing what I'm doing now, or I would have never dreamed of being that. But it completely changed my life to where I am right now. And I said it to somebody else today. I made this decision and pivot my life back then into fitness. And I can imagine doing anything else in my life right now. I mean, I've done this for 30 years. You would think, God, it's getting bored of same, because it repeats itself. And that's probably why I do all these crazy races, ultra marathoning and triathlon and all this stuff, just to challenge myself and perhaps my clients. But, you know, I can't imagine not exercising, eating healthy, and just being fit as I get older.
Wow, I'm telling you, some of these ultra marathons, and I know just a little bit, enough to ask some still really stupid questions about it. So when, and I know this isn't part of what we promoted tonight, but I got to ask this. So when somebody talks about an ultra marathon, now most people who run or watch the Olympics or any kind of running event know a marathon is about 26 miles, give or take.
Oh, wait, Andrew. 26.2. If you ask a marathoner, the 0.2 is where it either goes or not.
Okay, so to be an ultra marathoner, okay, what's the minimum to be classified ultra marathon?
anything over the 26.2, that could be a 50K, a 50 miler, a 100 miler, so anything that's above it. And a 50K is about 30 some miles. So that would actually qualify you as an ultra marathoner. But once you lick blood, you want to do more. I can tell you that, Andrew.
You're not very good of a salesman with that one. I get tired driving in my car 50 miles, let alone I'm going to run 50 miles. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard that quite a bit too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I went to 50 miles. That was my longest distance. I ran the JFK 50 miler, and it was an amazing event. And I was just in awe of what I actually could do and was able to do without falling apart at the end. But that's when I really had pushed my body to the limit. And afterwards, I just couldn't see myself going for 100 miles. Like many of my friends in the running community are like, come on, let's do a 100 miler. And that's when I went, I'm just don't have it in me. I don't have that passion. I did the 50 because I really wanted to do the JFK 50 miler. Mm-hmm. And that's when I pivoted into triathlons, because it was diversifying. And because of the injury that I had afterwards, my body just breaking down, I needed to do something different. And that's when I got into triathlons, not knowing how to swim, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, it's a story for another time. Oh, my word. Okay. So folks that are tuning in right now, they're thinking, all right, Andrew, you go off on tangents all the time. Stick to the program. And I have my piece of paper here. Okay, we're going to talk about diet, nutrition, and Pilates. I'm going to save Pilates to last, and there's a reason for it, and I'll get into it. So, and we focus, this interview is going to be focused more on the ladies that are over 50 years old. And even though I'm saying ladies, the nutrition part could be for guys as well. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The only really big difference at this stage of our life is that we go through menopause, which changes that a bit. But you know what? Guys too need really sound nutrition strategies as you guys get older. So Andrew, there's no excuse.
Well, okay. She's directed that to me. Look at me. So, all right. My first question is, so of all the clients that you see, is there a pattern of I don't know how to phrase this properly, so forgive me for being negative here. Is there a pattern for wrong nutrition that you're seeing your clients come to you with what they're doing and you have to fix it? Is there a pattern for that, or is everyone completely different off the scales?
Yes to both. Everybody is very different because we all come from very different backgrounds and what we know about nutrition. Some people know a lot about nutrition. Others have really no clue. And I have a good example. Years ago, I had a client who said, oh, I want to lose some weight and I want to get in shape and I want to do all of this. And I always have people fill out a 3-day blog or log it what they eat and drink for 3 days. And I looked at her log and it literally had soda and chips on it. And I said, this is what you eat. I said, what is good on what you're eating? She says, oh, the chips are not bad, right? I was like, okay, they're not big. They're like salty and all this. Okay. But she really didn't know what good nutrition meant. She just knew that she needed to eat and that sounded good. And the wrapping sounded good, the ingredients that she read. So she really didn't know. So it starts out with, what does the client know about nutrition? And that sets them up for how they continue with what they're doing. They may think what they eat is good, or they have taken, they have started a diet that said, you need to eat a lot of fat because that's how you lose weight. And they rely on that information given to them, which may not work for them because they may have diabetes or other heart disease conditions. So it's very varied, and it's always good to know exactly where they're coming from when they say, oh, hi, Heike, I'm here. I want to lose 50 pounds. And I go like, yeah, okay, where did that magic number come from? And then we start digging. Mm-hmm. And I'm always surprised of what you find out, how misinformed people still are, despite the age of internet,
Mhm.
that they don't really know, and I don't blame them because there is so much on the internet. I don't blame them. They don't know who to believe. They
I
may run after one guru this week and then another guru the next week because the one number one doesn't fix it. Oh, let's go to number two. Let's fix it. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said there. One of the things that I talk about on my site, Top Fitness Strategies. By the way, this is a sponsor of the show, Top Fitness Strategies. Is I tell people to drink more water, cut back on salt, cut back on sugar. Those are the three main things. I am not a nutritionist, not by any stretch of imagination. And I tell folks, if you want to get more in depth with how to go about feeding your body, fueling your body, I have several folks, and now you're on this list as well. I can direct them to because I don't want to start coaching them on stuff that I am not certified in. But I believe if you cut out sugar, cut out salt, drink more water, it's going to get you on a stepping stone. I
yeah.
also hear people say, well, you have to eat clean. Okay, that's fine. That's great on paper, but what does that mean?
I mean,
Where you come into play. So when somebody says I have to eat clean, like you just mentioned, the lady thought chips and soda was eating clean. It's not. So what? I guess a long question here. What do you when somebody says what's your definition of eating clean? Let me ask that. If that makes sense.
well,
If I
the
even
answer to that is, what do you think it means? Because I want to know what they want, what they know. And what most people think of eating clean is basically cut everything out, eat nothing else but fruits and vegetables and
Mhm.
protein. And that's in order the overall umbrella that eating clean, it is really, when you think about it, it's like many diets, very limiting in what they actually you should do. Because in eating clean is too, you leave out foods. They may encourage you to eat a lot of fruit, but as you just said, you want to cut out sugar. Well, should you eat that fruit because it's high in sugar, but it's fruit sugar, which is differently metabolized than regular sugar?
Mhm.
So where should you go with this? So I'm like, eating clean is like, go wash your fruits and vegetables really well because you want to get the pesticides off. And I just leave it at that because I am not a fan of clean eating because it's again restrictive. It puts the people in a spot where their hands are tied to what should I eat, what can I eat.
Mhm.
That's my answer to that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm the a firm believer of we're adults. You know what's good for you. You know what's not. What's not. So in our minds, being in the health, wellness, and fitness field, we assume that everyone has the same. Well, I shouldn't say we. I always assume if you're an adult, you know that diet soda and chips is bad for you. Obviously, not everyone thinks that way. Of course, like you say, your client didn't think that way. So I have to personally get that mentality out of my head that adults know what to do. Well, if they did, we wouldn't see so much obesity out there. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's the reality. It's fact, especially in the United States. We see it
Yeah.
everywhere. Now, you come from a different country. You come from Germany, if I recall.
Yep.
It- and I don't know how long you've been here. It's none of my business how long you've been in the States. But do you see the same pattern in Europe as you do here, as in obesity wise and nutrition wise?
Well, I'm an open book. You can't ask me anything to start with.
Okay.
So I've been here over 30 years and I have seen actually in both countries the change in bodies in recent history. But back in the day when I came from Germany, people in America were a lot heavier and overweight, more obese than in Germany. In Germany, a German stout person, is really like a stout, got a little meat on the bones, is not
Right.
the skinniest, but they're also not overweight. But that goes back to that in Europe, for the most part, as it used to be, and this has changed too, but it has been that we walk everywhere. We take public transportation. We're not just going in a car, driving to the next thing, driving to the next thing. No, we're walking to public trans. We take the metro and then we walk again. Or for activities on the weekends, you bike. Or like my mom still does, she bicycles to the grocery store. She has a little basket and off she goes, and then she comes back home. So you get more exercise. Because when I came here, I was really baffled by how sedentary people were and how large the portions were. And over the 30 years I've been here, the portions have grown. The people get larger. And in Germany, people have gotten lazier too. So they're all like here too, we're sitting more as we're working. And during COVID, even more, we're sitting way more than we do. And so they're getting a little jumpsters over there as well. But the exercise is more built into the lifestyle. Where here it's like it has to be go to the gym, go for a run. It has to be like a planned activity. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go and get my groceries with my little basket, which I could. I live a mile away from the grocery store and come back in, or bike somewhere for just because I can, bike to the post office. That's unheard of. People are like, what? You're going to go what? So they're catching up on the folks over here. And as you said, it is a fact that the obesity crisis is not getting better as much as we fitness professionals do and go and preach and teach. And I don't know what it takes to change that. And definitely not diets and crazy foods. Definitely ain't going to happen. This is just not going to do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And for those that are just tuning in, thanks for being here. My guest this evening is Heike Yates. And I hope I'm pronouncing Heike. It is Heike, right? Okay. Yes. And .com. And I put the link in the comments. So check it out. And okay, so we're talking about diet and nutrition. We're hitting on that. And I always say, I don't know if I'm phrasing this right, because I'm so excited when I talk to folks like this. I'm soaking in all this knowledge. Okay, so if you were to give, and I can't say it like this because it's a blanket statement. If you were to give 2 or 3 forms of nutrition advice real quick, what would they be? But I don't know if that's a possible answer because everyone is so much different. But if you can give it
on a base of nutrition, Andrew, I agree with you. Number 1, drink more water.
Okay.
That's definitely the number 1. Many people are dehydrated and they don't even know it. And yes, you got to pee a lot more, but oh well, that's good for your kidneys.
That's a natural body function. Of course you're going to. Yeah.
But drink more water. You can have flavored water. You can put in like lemon or rosemary or cucumber, whatever you flavor your water. If you don't like normal water, you can do sparkling water. But drink more water and stop or step away from processed foods. Anything, as I call it, as it's not in its natural state, step away from it. Yeah, if your goal is weight loss and you're concerned about what is in your mashed potatoes, don't eat them. If you didn't make them, don't eat them. Eat a potato that's just the potatoes steamed, and then you know what you're putting on it and what you're eating. Because a lot of times we don't know when things are processed, how are they processed, what's in it in its end state. So these are definitely 2 tips that I would say. Stay away from processed food. And people are confused sometimes too what that means, because processed sounds like a bagel. Yes, that's processed. But a mashed potato, just to use it as an example, is also processed, because you usually add some butter and some milk and salt and all the good stuff to make it tasty. So be aware of the hidden fats, the hidden things you don't know or don't want to put in your body.
That makes perfect sense. I'm one of these weird people that I can, bake a potato or boil a potato or what have you, and just eat it like that without anything on it. I just like the taste of it.
So
good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. I don't know, but I just like the taste of it. Now I don't do that 5 times a day. Of course, I try to mix it up, but I love you mentioned potatoes. I love the taste of potatoes. So, okay. The part that I don't know if I'm excited about this or not, Pilates. and I don't know if I'm saying that right. And it's funny because I've taken a couple Pilates classes. I don't get it. I don't get Pilates. I don't understand it at all. Now, it took me a long time to understand yoga. And I know there's all kinds of different disciplines within the yoga field. One of the ones, and I talk about this all the time, so it's no secret. I love DDP yoga, which is a different style of yoga altogether. I don't know anything about Pilates other than a couple of the classes that I took, and I don't get it. So can you give somebody that's never heard of it, that doesn't know what Pilates is, a Reader's Digest version of what exactly Pilates is and what it can do for you?
Let me ask you one question, Andrew. Before you started Pilates, what did you think Pilates was?
I thought it was a different form of yoga, actually. Now, the ones that I did, there was hardly any yoga involved. There was a lot of moving your hands up and down and breathing like that, which is great. But the only time I ever seen something like that was at one of those birthing classes called, what they call, Lamaze classes.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, but I've seen videos and people going to stuff like that. So that's what it reminded me of. Of course, it's exercise. Outside of being yoga, to answer your question, I didn't know what to expect. So
perfect, because still Pilates has been around for so long now, and it's become very mainstream. And usually that's my first question, is like, what do you think Pilates is? And without fail, I would say 80% of the people say, oh, it's something like yoga, right? And then the other 20%, it's like, it's about breathing, right? Well, it's about breathing. It's like yoga in certain aspects, but it's different. Now, how much time do we have?
30 minutes, you go long, that's fine. Yeah, right 22 minutes.
I'm just teasing. Now, when you think about Pilates, was invented by a guy. Okay. Super awesome. Guys are straightforward. When a guy is inventing something, there is no, I can't think of the English word right now, but there's no like curly things or twisty things or complicated things. It's pretty much straightforward, because that's how men, in my experience, think. It's straightforward. It has to be aligned. It has to go one way, and it can't go 5 different other ways, because I don't get that. That's what Pilates is. Pilates is straightforward, a exercise program for the core. Think about it that way. A lot of clients come to me in recent years with back pain, and they're like, oh, I've heard that Pilates helps with back pain. It can help. It doesn't cure it or help everybody, but it does help, because what we're talking about is core stability. And when you think, usually men know more about contact sport than women for the most part. When you think of yourself wrestling, or you want to push somebody over in martial arts, so you're going at this other person and the other person is pushing back. When you're pushing into, what do you have to do in order to not be pushed over? You have to engage your core. You have to stand your ground. You have to have good posture in order to withstand that pushing motion. That's Pilates.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Pilates used to be a bodybuilder, a yoga practitioner. He, as we know, the story goes, he helped in World War II, the soldiers in England to practice what's now called the Pilates mat work, where your pumpy arms come in, the 100, which is the least favorite in the crowd. If you ask anybody, people are like, oh, not that one with the pumpy arms. But think about it, he also was fencing. When you think about it from the view of an athlete, it is an athletic form of movement. It has to do with pushing against force, creating what he called a box. And the box is really, everything's tight. The belly is in, the butt's tight, the lats are working, the chest is working, because if nothing is connected, I can push you over, no problem. Or I can just wrestle you down and you give me no resistance. And that's when core strength comes into play. The neat thing about this is that, well, a lot of exercise in Pilates are done lying down.
Okay.
So if you have balance issues, so you don't have to worry about that for the most part. And there's equipment and all this. But the principle itself is really how you create what's called intra-abdominal pressure. And when you take a deep breath in, and I will, everybody is here with us right now, take just a deep breath in, as deep as you can, and then breathe out all the air. And when you breathe out all the air, what does it feel like in your belly? It gets tighter.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It sort of shrinks it together. That's
Yeah.
Pilates breathing. When you breathe in, you expand. When you exhale, the diaphragm moves and everything gets tighter. So when you push somebody over or try to push somebody over, you would exhale. In martial arts, they go, and then they push with the arms, and your core is engaged. And that, if somebody doesn't understand what Pilates is, but knows sports, that is Pilates in a nutshell.
Interesting. Oh, I'm digging that. Okay. I see. I didn't know because the classes I went to, they didn't explain it. Now, granted, if they did, I don't remember. But so they might have. But I'm going to assume they didn't get nearly as in depth as you just did right there.
I look at it differently. I'm not a dancer. A lot of Pilates teachers are dancers, classical ballet dancers, which are athletes in themselves. I am not. I'm an athlete. I dance, but I don't do this kind of dancing. But even when I dance tango, I'm an Argentine tango dancer for those of the crowd that are dancers. And you see the dancers in tango, you're always leaning towards each other. If I don't engage my core, I'm arching my back. So I have to engage my core and push against my partner to maintain my alignment, what I call the Pilates body, straight from head to toe, and engage my belly so I'm not arching my back or sticking out my butt, either way. So then I don't use my core. Or if you think about a plank, if you're holding a plank, either forearm or arms, and you're not sinking your butt down or sticking it up, you're doing Pilates.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned it has it's basically all about the core. Right? You focus on the core, and we just did that breathing exercise a second ago. So when you do the quick little breaths, like you said, the ones that go, I don't even know what to expect, and I'm Italian, so my arms are going everywhere here. So how is that? I know it engages the diaphragm because it's quick little breaths, but it doesn't contract and expand it fully, does it? Or is it supposed to? Am I asking that?
Not exactly, no. Because you're what's called wrapping the ribs. You're engaging like you're in a plank. You get the ribs together, you pull your lower abs in, transverse abdominals to stabilize. And you primarily breathe into your lat, in the posterior or the back of the body, in order to breathe, where yoga oftentimes breathes into the belly. So we're holding everything tight to begin with, and the pumpy breath is actually intended to warm up the body. So it has nothing to do with really the Pilates breath that we sometimes do when we do a roll up to touch our toes and things like that. But it's simply designed to warm up the body through short sequences of these little, because you breathe in. This breath is also used, interesting fact, by inline skaters. So when you're a competitive skater, this is the breath they use in skating.
You said inline skating, so
if you're skating, I can think of the
skating, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so professional skaters, they use that breath because they can hold themselves tight as they're skating along and not expand too much of their energy, and still are able to get enough breaths in to perform at their top level. Just a little side note, because aside from the 100, for the most part, you don't breathe like this in Pilates. You normally breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth for a long time. There are There are different forms of Pilates now, and the forms that have changed, Andrew, are from the first generation teachers that trained with Pilates and took his work and made it their own and created something else out of it. And there was a guy that's is dead now. It's called Ron Fletcher, and Ron Fletcher used that breath, and all his people that he trained are using this style of breathing, which I know I'm going down the rabbit hole, is very similar to the Kundalini breath in yoga. And the Kundalini breath in yoga is a warming breath to the body. So they are very similar. And Ron Fletcher back then trained inline skaters, that's how I know that story, with that breathing, and it's transformed a lot of the skating training because of the way he teaches the breath, and his disciples still use that breath with all their Pilates exercises. And I'm not trained that way, so I'd use the simple inhale and exhale breath, which works well for me.
Interesting. So if somebody, here I got my pen in my hand. If somebody wanted to do a Pilates class, let's say they watch this interview and they say, okay, I need to do Pilates, I want to contact Heike. Can they do a Pilates class via I guess Zoom, Skype, Stream, whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. I have several clients that are training with me online. And even though when you know Pilates, you oftentimes associate it with the machines that look like medieval equipment, as I'm always told, you can do Pilates without anything, and absolutely via Zoom, because I see you right in front of me and I know what you're doing and what I like you to do, even if you are a total beginner. At first it's a little weird because you experience it's like, I'm not sure what all this about, but I gauge it to the person. If I have a guy, I can talk to that person very differently in terms of how Pilates is than a woman. And so I just, because like I said, women oftentimes don't know about contact sports or this kind of like I explained earlier, pressure, and they're going, I don't know what you're talking about. But men do.
Yes.
And so, yeah. So absolutely, can you do Pilates? You can do Pilates 24/7 as far as I'm concerned, because you do Pilates when you sit in a chair, you do Pilates standing, you do Pilates when you run, bike, swim, walk. You have what I call the Pilates body, which I explained a little bit with that tango thing, because if you're standing up straight, your head is forward. This is not a Pilates body. This is a bendy body. So you need to put the head on with the crown on top of the head and stand balanced over your feet, and you engage your abs. So you do Pilates all the time. And especially nowadays, when people are stressed and don't breathe, Pilates breathing is the bomb. And it's like, slow down, breathe in deeply, focus on your breath, and just go for a walk and align your body. And it's just awesome, I think.
Tell you what, I'm gonna have to look into this Pilates thing more on my end over here, and maybe take a class or two, or do something online, and may possibly contact you and have you yell at me for a while. I could possibly do that.
I don't yell. I'm German.
I'm Italian. That's all we do. Okay. So I know I asked you for 30 minutes. I'm over that 30 minutes time, but I want you to tell us about your site. Do you have any programs or anything that you want to promote right now besides your one-on-one Pilates? I know you do that, and you have several other things on your website. So go ahead and promote what you need to promote, and plug your website. Do whatever you can for it right now.
So you can find me anywhere on social media under Heike Yates, HeikeYates. And sometimes you have to add Pursue Your Spark, which is my women brand only. Like on Facebook, you get to my business page there. You can find me just by putting my name into Google and everything will show up because I'm everywhere on social. I'm on YouTube. That's where Andrew found me. On Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Pinterest. So you can find me anywhere you want to know more about it and take advantage of my freebies. You can also listen to the Pursue Your Spark podcast, anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, wherever that is. And I offer, as I said, one-on-one training sessions virtually, so it doesn't matter where you are, and I can teach you anything from Pilates to nutrition to fitness training to balance training, you name it. We'll meet, we'll talk, and we'll go from there. And you can find a link to that also on my website, Heike Yates. I am offering a 4-week, what I call lean out program with intermittent fasting. And that will start in October again. It's a 4-week program that incorporates intermittent fasting with exercise and habit building strategies. So we get lean out, that's why the name. So we're losing body fat, leaning out, and feel better, healthier, and stronger as we age. And of course, there's lots of Pilates classes in there as well. And one of my favorite, Pilates on the ball, which makes it a heck of a lot more fun. But if you go to my website, you can choose from 2 freebies. One is a quick start guide for intermittent fasting, if that kind of struck your fancy. Or if you're not sure where you start, then you would get my 5 for 50 lifestyle guide Kickstarter program to start sorting out where you actually need the most help and where you are in life. And these 2 guides are for free. All you give me is your information, and it will be right in your inbox. And and go to my YouTube channel. I always put some cool, awesome stuff out. I just did that today about weak pelvic floor and strong core. So Heike Yates.
Oh, awesome. Now, if you guys are watching this or even listening to this right now, depends on how you're consuming this, and you didn't catch the name or the spelling, or you just didn't write it down, you guys know you can contact me and I'll get the message to Heike. Not a problem. I get you in contact with her. So, because first of all, we want you to be safe. If you're not in position to write something down, don't yet. So, but you can always contact me and I get messages to her as well. Also, if you're watching or listening to this and it's past October and she started this program, it's okay. Contact her anyway, because it'll start again in the future and you'll be in contact and she'll let you know when it's going on. Am I accurate there, Heike?
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Okay, so I'll let you go. And once again, it's HeikeYates.com. Thank you for being with us this evening, Heike. And I'm sure we'll touch base again in the future doing something, hopefully. And I'm looking forward to doing the Pilates thing now. This is going to be fun.
Told you so. Thanks for having me, Andrew. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, folks. That's it for now. This is Andrew, Top Fitness Strategies. Go to the website, topfitnessstrategies.com, and look at the book I have there, the ebook, and that's it. So until next time, this is Andrew. Ciao.